Hey guys, welcome back to the Eyes on Leafs podcast. This is episode 20. Coming off a big Game 6 win. Leafs take, like I said, Leafs win Battle of Ontario.
Let's go. Sure.
Improved to 5-0 all time against Ottawa Senators in the playoffs.
I didn't know that.
I told you guys last episode, if they proved me wrong, I was going to be the happiest man alive.
I'd like to
Safe
point
to
out
say
who
I'm the
was the one who
happiest
talked
man
you off the
alive.
ledge. I'd like to
Yeah,
point out
same,
who was the one who
talking
talked you off the ledge. Yeah. So,
Dude, my mom was watching the episode and she started like laughing at that when you said you're gonna talk us off the edge.
Yeah.
Telling you the voice of reason.
Someone had to do it.
Yeah,
I wanted
someone
you
had
to
to
be
do
right
it.
so
Yeah,
badly, and I'm so glad that you were.
Yeah, so this episode we're gonna obviously talk about Game 6. We're gonna just go through the series, go through a quick review of the series, our thoughts on it overall, and obviously the review of the Florida series coming up. That sounds like, according to Chris Johnson, we're recording this Friday night. It should start Monday, so we'll see how it goes. Not confirmed yet. Haven't seen anything confirmed. I know there's it's kind of up in the air when the Ottawa series would start, so I'm not really taking anything too seriously in terms of the reporting on when the series starts, although Chris Johnson is very well connected, so we can't expect it to start on Monday. That's all, obviously
Monday.
It most likely Monday. But yeah, and then the rest of just quickly, Seb, we're going to talk about the rest of the series that closed out. Any series that has not been closed out, I think we're going to stay away from today. As we're recording, the Jets and the Blues are playing. I believe before I logged on, the Jets or the Blues scored a goal, but it looked like it potentially could have been goaltender interference.
I was gonna say
Broberg.
Goal does stand. Philip Broberg with a shot. I think Sandberg
Could have been an Oiler.
was who bumped in. Yeah, could have been an Oiler. Bumped into.
Not that it needed his help.
No, and we will get into that later. Also, some coaching news. Big signing, with Sullivan going to the Rangers. Our plan is, I don't know if we're gonna make it happen or not. We'll see. We're gonna try our best here, guys. But we're gonna try to do a separate episode where we kind of focus a little bit more on the news around the league. There's just a lot to get to right now. The NHL is like a lot of people are focused on the playoffs, but there's a lot of storylines that are going on in the background for teams who are out of it. We're one of those teams is Vancouver. We'll get to them. I believe that they're a pretty important team to talk about right now. There's a lot going on.
It's just a soap opera over there. Every day there's something new. With the Rangers and the Canucks, there's something new every day.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
we'll get to that. But let's bring it back to the Leafs. Obviously, last night, like we were saying, 4-2 win in Game 6 in Ottawa. Leafs go on the road after one of the worst games I think we've seen them play all season in Game 5. Just not a good showing. And what happens is the big guys step up. We see Matthews score the first power play goal in a potential closeout game for the Leafs on the power. I said power play already, but since 2018, Patrick Marleau just bossed him in Game 7.
That was so huge.
And
that was a crazy goal.
That power play goal was
and
massive.
If you guys go back to watch our episode from our last episode, we were talking about the power play and what was going wrong with it, and how they scored is what we were complaining about, the fact that they weren't doing it enough after it worked so often. It was just Matthews just to the point.
Yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. It healed my soul. It healed my soul.
That was a perfect goal. Like there was been some people talking online about, maybe Austin Matthews tried to do that perfectly placed shot. No fucking chance. Who takes that shot?
No, he just tried getting it. Dude, he tried getting it on the net.
And there were bodies in front.
It's
So
literally
Mark
like,
didn't see shit.
Dude,
and it went in.
Dude, it healed my soul to see them score a power play goal in a clinching game. Like I was
and honestly, like I think
that's when I was like, this team's different.
That's a general theme of last night's game too. Is everything that we asked for them to do in last episode, and everything that we identified that they did wrong in Game 5, they did last night.
They executed. They executed perfectly. I think Austin Matthews, Nylander had 2 goals. Pacioretty had the game winner, but I think Matthews was the best forward on the ice last night. He led
was
by
fantastic
example.
last night.
Truly led by example. That was like he just hounded every single puck battle possible. Yeah. There was not a puck battle that he went into that I think he lost yesterday. There was a couple on the boards where I can't remember what juncture in the game it was, but like he went in there by himself, got that puck, and created a scoring chance. And it happened multiple times, and I don't know. He led by example. Truly, it was honestly,
and if you remember
it
earlier,
trickled down the whole team.
If you remember earlier in the series, I think me and Seb got into a little bit of an argument earlier with the play of the core four, and specifically Matthews, because I said when they were up 3-0, or it might have been 3-1 at the time, but when they were up 3-0, that while I liked Matthews' game, I said that if they're going to want to go on a deep run, they're going to need goals from him. And he kept his all-around game last night. No defensive errors I could really remember. I think there was one where he tried to flip it out and it got caught. But aside from that, he was pretty just perfect in the defensive zone, and he got them the goal. And that's the key to this for this team. It's no secret. I think we've been saying that ever since they got into the league. And they all signed their big contracts. That if you're going to go on a deep run, you're going to need these guys to put pucks in the back of the net for you. And we saw that from their biggest guys last night, which was very encouraging to see.
Yeah, I think
sorry, Jacob, you go.
Oh, and I was just going to say,
Jacob.
I think in terms of offense, they played I think they played a near perfect game last night in terms of offense.
They hit the post 4 times, dude.
They did all the right
3
things.
times. It's
yeah, I mean, they made stuff happen, and I mean that goes, and they didn't sit around and wait for things to happen for them, like the forecheck from Max Domi on the game-winning goal. I mean that's just it was amazing. Exactly.
It's
Sorry, I couldn't find the words. It's just exactly what they needed to do. It's their playbook. I mean, something that, I mean, I'm been Max Domi's biggest critic throughout this series, but I mean, he got in behind the net, won the puck battle, and then makes a great pass to Max Pacioretty. Max Pacioretty getting lost in the Ottawa defense.
Max Pacioretty,
they were just very
touch on after.
I have that lined up. Yeah. I mean, I think they were just very direct last night. I don't think they try to do anything too pretty. I don't want to pile on the guy because I know I am the resident Mitch Marner hater, but I still think he was a little too pretty at times, just trying to hit the, and Domi did it too. Dude, Domi did it too. I hate when they try to kick the puck. Dude, stop it, get it onto your forehand, and get the puck out of the zone. And Mitch did it in the defensive zone one time where he tried to do like a little kick pass out of the zone. Yeah. And I'm like, just get it.
I'm glad you brought this up, Mateo, because I actually wanted to ask you. It's been a run. Oh, sorry, you're frozen right now. I'm not sure if we've got you.
I can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
But if you can hear me, it's been a running theme throughout this entire season, especially on the show. What you want to see from Mitch Marner in the playoffs, and I think that goes for all three of us. I think that goes for a lot of people who are Leafs fans. Me personally, I wasn't satisfied in round 1. How do you guys feel?
Last night, I liked this game a lot, at least in the offensive zone. I think him and Matthews were both really good on the forecheck yesterday. He was throwing his body around a lot. Although I think out of the core 4, he was probably the least impactful yesterday.
I would say so.
On the penalty kill, he was okay. Besides, the few times that Mateo mentioned, obviously.
Yeah, he's always good on the penalty kill.
I think Matthews and Nylander really took over that game in terms of if we're talking about just like the core 4 forwards.
With Mitch, I think for me it was a little bit of a mix. I think I did think he was more physical at times than he has been in the past. But I do think there was times within game 3, 4, and 5 where I thought he stopped forechecking a little bit, and not stopped forechecking, but stopped forechecking like a playoff team should, which is not going in there and trying to do make a little stick lift, and if you don't get it, then it runs back around. Like I think he did well last night. Just putting his body on a guy every once in a while, which I think he needs to do more of. And we're gonna get to Florida, and I'll talk more about that then. But I didn't think I thought early in the series, which has been the continuous theme with Mitch, I think especially in the first 2 games of the series, he looked good. And as this series went on, I think he blended into the game a little bit too much. I did think he had a few nice passes last night, and I think you see this still there when he has a little bit more time and space. And if you're going to get Mitch to have those chances, it's going to be more in transition when he's not being kind of hounded in his own zone. And I think we saw that with a nice pass to Nyes on a 2-on-1. But I don't know, dude. Like I want to be fair with the guy, because I do think that he takes more shit than anyone else, and I think it is a little bit warranted. I think he takes the appropriate amount of crap for how he plays in the playoffs, and I think sometimes guys like Matthews kind of get by without really being talked about as much when he needs to be better. And I just think that people notice Matthews throw the body around a little bit more, and I think that kind of buys him a little bit more leeway, because it looks like he's trying a little bit.
I think we talked about this before too, though. Like, Matthews also, like, let's be honest,
has had his series in the
playoffs.
Yeah,
he's shown up more. Last night, for example, he had that huge goal to open the series. I was watching the game with a couple buddies yesterday, and the whole time I was like, until Matthews scored that goal, I was like, they need the first goal. Like, you need the first goal in that building if you want to win this game. If you let Ottawa get the first goal, like, you're done. The crowd is going to get so into it. They're going to get in your head.
Completely agree. I mean, that was a running theme in the series, too.
Credit to Matthews, man. That goal was huge. But no, I think you're right. Marner has taken the right amount of flack. I mean, let's be honest. Out of the core four, consistently in the playoffs, and it kind of goes for this series too. Again, he on the score sheet, he shows up. He's there, point per game this time around as well, but just seems like the least impactful.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, I think he was going on the power play as the quarterback in this one, besides the two games, besides like game 4 and 5, where I felt he held on to it a little bit too much and wasn't really getting it on net the same way. But yeah, I mean, again, it's just another situation where he's kind of just the least impactful of the core four, and it sucks that we're talking about this, because like we should be like positive.
No, I do want to move off. Right. I think it was a valid question by Jacob, though, because I do think that like we're analyzing the core four, because like this is a review of the series, and I think we're really focusing on what went right, what were some turning points, and we start off with the core four in game 6 because they all kind of showed up. And I think the thing I want to say on Mitch is that guys like JT, for me, will always get more of a pass when it comes to the actual point production, because JT does a lot of stuff that doesn't maybe get on the score sheet, but it does create goals, which is setting screens. Yeah, he sets screens, he gets in the corners, he wins puck battles a little bit more, he's always a little bit more physical. I think JT is just a better playoff player, whether that's just more... Yeah, exactly. And whether that's just more experience or just a style of game, and I think it's probably a little bit of both with JT.
Most clutch Leafs goal in the past 20 years too.
Yeah, and he I think JT finds ways to have impact on the game even when he's not playing his best, and I don't think he's a net negative when he plays. When I think Marner is not playing his best, he could really hurt you because he tries to do too much, and I think that's when Mitch is playing his worst hockey, is when he's trying to be too pretty, not making. And I remember I tweeted it during the game because he was just frustrating me a lot. I'm like, I'm begging Mitch Marner to make the simple play for once, because in the playoffs, I don't need a highlight reel play, dude. I just need a tape-to-tape pass and get out of the zone and get up ice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't.
And there's a big difference between exactly like you said, when John Tavares isn't not his game, you just don't notice him out there. And honestly, that's fine. If you're having an off night,
he's still a good defensive player, still a good face-off man.
Exactly. I don't want to notice you. But Mitch, exactly like you said, it's just the fancy play that leads to a turnover. Like you mentioned, just trying to kick the puck out of the zone a little too pretty, and just leads to a turnover. And I talked a lot in the last episode about William Nylander doing a lot of the same thing. Just, he has an opportunity to just, get a puck on net, make a simple pass. He just makes the extra stick handle and it leads to a turnover. I still thought he was doing way too much of that last night in game 6.
I'd agree.
And he bails
I do want to
out,
touch on Willie too,
goals,
because
but...
Yeah, I do want to talk about Willie too, because I think out of the core four, I think he's the one I've always been the most lenient with in the playoffs. I think he's always performed the best. Yeah. But I thought if you looked at the point totals in this series, it looks like he showed up. I didn't think he had a very good series.
It's not very telling. No, it's not very telling.
I think I think the only thing you'd say is I think he saved his best game for Game 6, and I think you saw what William Nylander really could be. And I don't really want to spend too much time on it because I think it's gotten a lot of airtime, and it's just like a little funny story. But before the game, Berube puts in the wrong game sheet. He puts in Alex Nylander, and I think there's been a bit of speculation on both sides whether the refs caught it first or Berube caught it first, and they changed it last minute. Yeah, it's gone back and forth. I heard Friedman say today, like he wasn't 100% sure. I don't think. But if you didn't catch that,
the refs are allowed to like, warn the team. Though I saw some Sens fans like complaining about that. They're like, "Oh, the league is biased towards the Leafs," and it's like the refs are allowed to do that. And like, why would the league? Whatever. Can I throw some?
Let me just finish
stats at you guys.
Hold on, just give me 1 second. I just want to just wrap it up. It's just Friedman, like you were saying, did say that the refs are supposed to warn coaches. I believe he says on 32 Thoughts.
Yeah, they're supposed
and the other thing is that the outcome would have been, if they didn't catch it, that Nylander is ejected from the game and the Leafs go on a penalty kill. So obviously, would have been huge losses. He had three points last night. Obviously a big goal, and I think it was the best game of the series, and I don't think there was too much to complain about with Willie last night. I think we saw him get a little bit upset one time, and it's funny with Willie because when he gets upset, he can throw the body if he really wants to. I think Clevin kind of dumped him in the corner. I think he thought that the stick got up a little bit high, and you could see him like just dart across the ice and finish his check along the boards in the neutral zone. I don't think there's much more to say with Willie on that. So Seb, if you want to give your Matthews stats here, then you're more than welcome to.
So like we said, Willie was the leading scorer on the team, but again, I don't think, like we all kind of just said it, we don't think he had the best series, and I think Matthews out of any forward still had the best series, and there's a few kind of interesting stats to go along with that too. So he's fourth in the playoffs right now in high danger chances for, 14 high danger chances for through 6 games. He's, I'm pretty sure, 34th in takeaways as well, which is huge. Actually, out of forwards, he's first in takeaways.
Okay, sorted the wrong way.
He's up there. He's up there in hits too. At least on the Leafs, he was up there in hits. I think he's 3rd or 4th, only behind Benoit and McMahon. And then face-off percentage, he's almost at 60% on the playoffs. He's been huge. He's won a lot of key draws.
The biggest Matthews criticism is he's supposed to be 70 goal scorer, right? And only gets 2 goals through 6 games.
Even then,
he does everything right.
Even then, he had the 2 goals he scored in the context of those games were 100%, huge.
They were big moment goals that he scored.
In the context of those games, they were huge.
And,
go ahead, Jacob. Sorry.
You go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, we'll get into the Florida series a little bit later, and he's gonna have a little bit more of a challenge with Barkov. But I thought he comes up big when you need him, and I hope he finds ways to contribute against Florida, because I think the last time we saw them play against Florida, Barkov really clamped them up, and I think it's always been the kind of a head-to-head matchup that we've watched as Leafs fans throughout the regular season as well, just because it's been such a prominent matchup. So yeah.
It's been an issue with Matthews kind of throughout his career in the playoffs. It's when a team has a really good shutdown center like that, he tends to kind of get locked up. We saw it in the Montreal series versus Philip Deneau. He really got clamped up by Philip Deneau in that series. We saw it, like you said, with Florida the first time around as well, when Barkov. He really shut down that whole top line, and we're going to see how that goes. Is that kind of what we want to move into now?
I don't want to yet. I kind of just want to talk about the line decisions with Berube, because I know I was really on Berube for not taking Pacioretty out of the lineup. I wanted Robinson in there. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's Pacioretty, just a game-winning goal. And I just want to say, I think that's it's a gut feel, and I think the decision in hindsight now kind of makes a little bit more sense, because I think the line we've seen Pacioretty have the most success with was that JT and Willie line. But he doesn't score with JT and Willie on the ice. He scores with Domi, and I think McMahon was the other forward on the ice at the time, if I'm not wrong. And that's just a veteran coach. It's a gut feel, and it ends up being a great call. But I don't. You go ahead, Seb.
he got the primary assist on the Nylander goal, the first one. That was a great play by him.
Oh,
he
yeah.
Very
gets
good
that.
play.
He gets that Jensen cleared out of the air straight to Nylander, and Nylander gets a beautiful goal because Jensen's caught off guard by it, and he can't catch up to Nylander.
He should have had 2 goals as well. Like the one thing I'd say is he should have buried. Dude, he needs to bury that puck. I'm sorry. I know he's like all credit to him because he ended up scoring and redeeming himself, but you need to bury that puck. Like you're at the top of the crease, so you had the whole net. Like I don't know.
He had a good game yesterday though, all around. Honestly,
he did.
He did. 7 hits on the night too. I'm pretty sure from what I saw. Mm-hmm. He was physical. I noticed it a lot more yesterday than the 3 games.
He did a couple runs that break the truck, dude.
Yeah, he was way more impactful in that way yesterday, and I don't know if it's just because of the extra ice time or I don't know what it was, but something invigorated him yesterday and he was way better. All I'm going to say is I am never doubting a Craig Berube lineup decision ever again. I'm so sorry, Craig. I can't believe I ever doubted you. Please forgive me. Max Pacioretty, you have stapled your place in the lineup for at least a few more
100%.
games, I think, for sure.
I think even McMahon had a great game last night. I don't know if that was mentioned already, but
he was very good.
Yeah,
he used his speed really well last night. I thought you could. Yeah, I thought you could see his speed, which I think was kind of lacking at times throughout the series. You didn't see him skate as much, but I think you saw him a lot last night, really using his wheels to beat out a few ice things, did it on the forecheck. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Jacob, but...
No, it's okay. I don't even remember what I was going to say.
Okay, one other thing. I just want to talk about the team again, because I think... obviously up 2-0, and I think the second that Perron scores that goal, first of all, terrible goal for Stolarz to let in. It's a back-breaking goal usually. Like, you can't just god awful. You can't get caught leaning there. Everyone was tied up in front, and I get him feeling the need to try to block that pass out in front of the net. You just can't get caught. You have to seal that post because Perron has nothing.
That was the first thing I saw. Or that was the first thing I said when I saw that. I was like, how do you, like, dude, he's behind the net. How do you not clamp up that top section? Like, I get wanting to go for the poke, but it's not like he's in a good... I think it's a one-time mistake kind of thing that we don't really see him make, but I think
Hopefully
it's also...
not.
It kind of is the thing with Stolarz, though, where he does like getting involved in...
Yeah, I was gonna say I think from a goaltending perspective, he has a very good active stick. I think a lot of times you see guys coming around the net, and he does a really good job sliding his hand from the paddle to the knob of his stick and kind of swinging it around. And we've seen him execute a few poke checks, block passes out in front a lot, and it is a genuine asset to a goalie's game to be aware around those posts, because it does negate a lot of great scoring chances. And I think. There, you just have to seal your post. I think he gets after the game, he's like, I got a little horny for the poke check, and it's just and it was a funny quote, but it's true. Like he wanted that. He was so nervous about the pass out in front of the net that he didn't realize you have to block that. You have to seal that post, dude, because he didn't have too much. Like, you had 2 defensemen in front, tied up the men. So I mean. But enough of that. I want to talk more about the response, because I think for me, if like at that point, the series was over. I'm like, it's done. Like this team, every time something happens to this team like this, it folds. Honestly, if they fold, it's over. Go ahead, Jacob.
I'm fully delusional. I still had belief at that moment. I'm not usually as nihilistic a Leafs fan during the game as I am in between the games. I mean, I think that goal's obviously a much bigger story if they lose that game. It's just kind of, thank God,
it's faded.
Just get a funny quote from Stolarz and just go, don't do that again.
That quote is gonna be like, that's one of those like screenshot quotes.
That's an all-timer.
I have it already in my camera roll.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about the bounce back, though, because like I said, I think for every single Leafs team that we've seen in the past, they fold there, and that game's over. We bring it back to Toronto for Game 7, and we all know the record in Game 7s with this team, and I think they came back pretty well, and I know it's really laggy, isn't it? I just think keep powering through here.
It's pretty bad. It's like, you can't get through the sentence.
Yeah. I'm going to power through because I know the recording will be fine after, so I the bounce back was good. That's all I want to say. Like, I think like they come right back down. Like not even I don't even think it was like a minute or two later, and then obviously 2-on-1 with Domi. We talked about that play already, but just the resilience to get back into that game because I know. That's a backbreaking goal, and I think we've seen it in the past with Sammy, with Freddie, even with Jack at times, where it's like that one bad goal goes in and it's over, and they have no juice, but they came back hard. They get 2 chances, bury one of them, and then after that, I think some people forget it, but like right after that, Lawton has another chance right in the slot. Like they came out hard again after they took the lead, and he hits the post, and it's very good bounce back.
I was really impressed with them last night, just throughout the whole night, even in the second period, when Ottawa scores that 2-1 goal, they came right back. I think it was the Lawton Lorentz Yarncroke line again that was on the ice, and I think it was the Riley Carlo pairing. They were all out there, and they ended that period really strong. They got a lot of chances for. I was saying to my friends yesterday, like, this is a great way to end the period. And then, they just didn't let up at all. They were still going at it the whole time. They didn't let their foot off the gas. It's just... Yeah, that Perron goal is just an unfortunate one. That Brady Tkachuk goal was honestly all Brady Tkachuk.
Great tip.
He did amazing that shift. Like
McCabe needs to box him out though.
Even worth talking about, but I really hated. Oh my god, that's where I was going. I thought Jake McCabe played that.
That's a couple times now that he's not been able to box out Brady Tkachuk there, and it is a little concerning going into a Florida series.
Yeah,
we'll see where that goes.
I think we've seen it enough from him.
Hopefully for him, and don't do that shit again.
I've seen enough from McCabe where I'm not really that worried. Although that is a little bit frustrating. Like Tkachuk kind of grabs the stick out of his hand, and he's pissed off about that, and he kind of throws his hands up in the air. And it's like, it's the playoffs. You're very rarely getting that call. Like just live with it, and you don't even need to pick up your stick. I think Derek Lalonde was saying on the panel at the intermission. I agree with him. Just get in there and box out with your hands. Like you don't need your stick to box them out. Just get in front of them.
In the third period, there was a play where Ekman Larson just was just all over Tkachuk. Just you're not getting to the front of the net. Mm-hmm. Just whatever he needed to do.
OEL, man, that guy. Can we talk about OEL?
We can talk about OEL.
Like this series I want to talk about Lawton OEL first. Had was.
Hold off on OEL. I want to talk about Lawton first because dude, just wait. Because Lawton had that
over here.
Dude, no, because I was on Lawton with the post, and you guys brought up a good point with McCabe or with the goals. I want to let you guys run with that, but he hits the post, and then he's out there in the last minute, and that shot block was fantastic. Like Sanderson, that was a rocket of a shot, and
that saved them the game. That saved the game.
Yeah, Willie goes down to try to block it, gets past him first, and Lawton is right there, and he takes it off the hand. Like, that's not a nice feeling, dude. He takes it right off the hand. He wears it. Willie goes back down the other way, and it's over. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Lawton because I think it's not his fault. It's just what Treliving paid for it. I don't think he's given us the offensive kind of punch that we were hoping for when we were going to get a center. But every other aspect of the game has been fantastic for him, I think. I think defensively he's been really solid, I think. Yeah, here we go. Just defensively solid. He's been really great. Face-offs have been good.
Of that. He's been a really important part of that bottom six. I honestly, I was thinking about this today. The only thing I would do different about the Scott Lawton trade is I would have done it about 2 years earlier because I love that player. And it leads into a greater discussion about the whole bottom six because they've, like, I feel like, differently from years past, there's identity, and more than that, there's a bottom six that you can send out there and you can trust them. Like in the late stages of the game, you can send out Domi, Holmberg, Pacioretty, and they can score a game-winning goal for you. You don't need to be like the Edmonton Oilers tied to McDavid and Draisaitl in the last 6 minutes of a game you're losing. You know,
it's very it's like comforting in a way, and I think the identity is the biggest part. I think we've seen it so many years where our bottom six going into the playoffs is just kind of like whatever, this line's just like scoring or like they defend okay.
Man, I never want to watch Alexander
we'll just run with this
ever again.
Dude, like, we were running like what? We were running like McCabe, Engvall, and Kerfoot, and it was like
nothing.
This is just like a line, but there's no identity here, and there is clear identity with our lines now. Yarncroke, Lawton, Lorentz. Forechecking, they play simple hockey, but they get their chances, and they're going to get one eventually. If they continue their play in the Florida series, they're going to get a goal eventually. They're due for one. And then you have the Domi, Holmberg, and I guess McMahon line at this point, which they've only had really, two-ish, kind of. Technically one game to really find a line, like a mesh or whatever, but they're all speedy as hell. They all forecheck like crazy. Holmberg's good with the puck battles. McMahon's good in the corners with puck battles as well. And then you have Domi there who's able to kind of facilitate plays either to McMahon, or if Pontus Holmberg is able to do anything offensively, he can facilitate a play there too. But I think that's really maybe the only line you can really pick apart on this team is like something that maybe could struggle or doesn't have an identity. But besides that,
I think you can say that about a lot of teams.
There is
too, you know?
There's roles there though.
Yeah,
they all have a role. There's nobody that looks lost.
You do a lot worse.
They all look like they have a clear purpose.
I think we saw the fourth line pitching in off. We saw the fourth line pitching in offensively in game one, where they got that pass to OEL. And I know Seb, you want to talk about OEL because that was a really good goal, and that came from the fourth line. So if you want to go off on OEL, you go ahead now. Yeah, Scott Lotto was a nice button hook, great pass to OEL.
Yeah, no, I think OEL. I mentioned this last episode too, I think, but he's had an amazing series. I think he's looked like probably the third best defenseman on this team in that series. I'd say arguably probably behind Tanev and then Riley.
Yeah.
I think he's looked the best. I mean, it's tough to say because I think the defense as a whole has actually looked pretty good this series, maybe besides McCabe in his few moments, but no, OEL has just looked amazing. Like you said, that box out on Kachuk was huge. And he's done that all series. He's been really good on the box out. Good active stick. He's like stopped a lot of rush chances. I think he's been really good there. Shoots the puck, man. He just shoots it.
He has a bomb.
He has a bomb, and it's just nice to have a defenseman that's comfortable shooting and knows when to shoot. That's a lot of his Arizona days kind of peeking through into his game now, where he has those instincts. And I don't know. He's just good with moving the puck. He's almost exactly what we needed, and I think that was, at least for this season and probably the next, I think that signing was huge by Brad Treliving. And
I think the thing is with OEL is that we're seeing now is I think last season I think one of the biggest things for me was our blue line was just not good enough moving the puck. And I know when you think of the playoffs, you think of a lot of big guys who hit hard and they're punishing, but I think we had those guys who hit hard and were punishing last year. We just didn't have a good blend of puck movers. Yeah, we couldn't get the transition was brutal.
TJ
You have
Brody.
Joel Edmondson who can't really make plays with the puck. You
Labushkin
got
is the definition of that.
It was a lot of off the glass and out, which is fine in the playoffs when you need to. It's not a dangerous play, but it's if you want to go on runs, you have to be able to make plays with the puck from your defense out. And I think we're seeing that a little bit more now. Where it's a better balance of a blue line. I think I said that coming into season 2, where I'm I think this is the most balanced blue line we've ever had, where you have a good mix of the big guys who hit hard, good stay-at-home guys, and you also have a little bit of puck movement in there too.
I think the biggest thing too, to your point of guys who can move the puck, I think with the guys Brad has brought in, they're great stay-at-home defenders, but they're great in transition with their passes too. Chris Tanev never misses a pass. I remember Kevin BX was talking about this too on the panel a couple days ago. He doesn't miss a pass, and if he doesn't have a clear pass, it's red line and in.
Yeah.
But in the plays where he does make a pass, it's tape to tape, perfect, no issues. Morgan Riley, we know, can make a pass. How many in game 5 especially? How many stretch passes we're getting through for breakaways from the defense? It was pretty crazy. Yeah. Jake McCabe can make a pretty good pass every now and then. I've been impressed with Carlo
because I'm honestly
on that
really shocked. Just even just in the regular season that McCabe and Tanev didn't finish with more assists because they made so many great breakout passes. And I don't know, the Leafs don't play off the rush very often, but
Tanev, I'm especially impressed with just this whole season. He's been I never really knew that about his game.
Complaints.
He is a
no
perfect
complaints with him.
Yeah,
and it's not flashy like you'll see with these are extreme examples like Quinn Hughes and Kellen McCarr, where you have like really rangy guys who could pass, like you could hit any pass that they want, like in the league. Like it doesn't matter what situation is, they're able to find someone like their forwards tape and get out. But what Tanev does is he makes a smart play, and he has more ability to push the puck up ice, and I think the average defenseman, which definitely helps the blue line. And I'm not asking for any of these guys to be Quinn Hughes because it's just not reasonable. Like we don't have any of those guys. I think just you need them all to play their roles. Yeah, you just need all.
We
all
could in
those
2027 though. You just have to get Jackie and Luke as well. But
yeah,
And
yeah.
Rick
shouldn't be too hard.
But and Rick Talk,
yeah, and Rick Talk.
We'll get to that later. But yeah, I don't know. I think everyone played a pretty solid series, and I think that we had one bad game in Game 5, and I can understand. Like we said last pod, I think you can understand the reaction. The reaction to the fan base, because it was so poor, and we've seen them do that so often that the freak out I think was justified, because like what you know is what you've seen, and there's like what else are you gonna do about it? Like I saw one thing I will say is Matthews is like, oh, we didn't listen to the outside noise, like, oh, like there was never like we did it for each other, and I'm kind of, here we go, am I back?
Yeah, I'll be honest.
I'm not gonna lie. The past like 20 seconds of whatever you were saying did not come through for us at all.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that, guys.
We found a solution
we had
for
to
now.
sort out some technical
Hopefully,
difficulties.
we'll see.
Hopefully.
But yeah, what I was saying before Jacob and Slip didn't hear me is I was a little bit frustrated with Matthew's post-game interview, because he's like, oh, you know, there's a lot of noise from the outside, and we just didn't listen to it. And it was a lot of just like, you know, we played for each other, which is fine, but like they act like the noise isn't justified. Like, guys, I don't know, you guys wouldn't have the noise around you if you didn't choke for 8 straight years. Like, I have a hard time feeling bad for these guys. I don't know. I just wish, and maybe it's just I don't know if it's a little just like it's whatever. It's not a big deal, but I do wish they talked a little bit more about the fans when they're post-game, because I feel like the fans have been through hell and back with this team, and I rarely hear them ever talk about the fans at all. And it's a lot more about, oh, it's so negative, the noise, and it's just like, dude, like people are cheering for you. You just haven't given anyone any reason to get excited for the last however many years you've been in the league, 8 years, 9 years now. So I mean, I think that's one of the only other negatives I had about the game. I was just a little bit frustrated with that. Like I don't know. I feel like they talk about being a Leaf like it's some sort of a burden. Like I don't know, dude. Like you play in a city that everyone really cares about the sport and cares about how the team does, and you get paid millions of dollars to do it, and if you win, you get treated like a lot of people. Mitch caught a lot of flack last year for saying we get treated like gods here, and listen, you can say whatever you want about the quote, but if you win, you get top, like you're a legend in the city forever. No, I think you saw Kawhi was here for not even a year. He wins a championship with the Raps, and he's getting like free meals in Toronto anywhere he wants to go. Like, dude, it's not.
If this team ever wins a cup, the entire roster, and I mean the entire roster themselves, are getting a statue somewhere in Leaf Square. Yeah, like that entire team is getting erected in a statue. Like it's
dude.
Pontus Holmberg will be in Maple Leaf Square forever.
Pontus Holmberg will be on Legends Row.
I don't know if you
every
guys saw
player's number retired.
Yeah, every player number. I'm pretty sure. Like I just saw a tweet notification off the corner of my eye, but I'm pretty sure the Toronto Maple Leafs are selling team issued first round victory merch, which has got to be one of the most pathetic things of all time. But I bet you people are buying that. Could you imagine?
Just raise a banner at that point.
Can you imagine Nashville Predators? Can you imagine the merch revenue if they win the Stanley Cup? Yeah. Can you imagine the merch revenue from me?
I'll buy every piece.
I'll buy one of those fucking banners that has like all the team names on it. 2025 and Simone Benoit.
Dude, I don't know. I'm when it comes to quotes, I try not to, like, honestly at this point, Leaf quotes are just so like wishy-washy to me. Because I can just tell they're most of the time what they're saying isn't actually like, you know,
it's like listening to a politician.
Meaning. Yeah, it's like when Gary Bettman speaks. It's
Yeah.
like, this is just a nothing burger. They're just saying this so that the media gets their quote and they can move on with their day.
Yeah,
I
like I
think
said
it
last
is another
episode-
like Craig Berube kind of thing, but
for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Jacob, you go.
No, sorry, I kind of interrupted you. But
No,
like
you're good.
Yeah,
I don't.
like I was saying last episode, like the theme, I'm using this analogy of themes way too often, but something that's been ongoing throughout this entire season is that they've been very stoic and just very like, even Craig Berube described it yesterday, just business. Yes, business. And I don't know. I think it's working for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on to the Florida series now, I think we've kind of gone through everything that we need to in the Ottawa series. I don't think we missed anything, but I want to go through. First of all, I want to talk about goaltending. Are we all on the same page that Stolarz is still fine for Game 1? Like, we all want Stolarz in for Game 1?
100%.
I think switching off of Stolarz, that would be it just wouldn't be a good move, I think. Like, you're showing for some reason that you don't have full confidence in him, even after he was pretty great in that Ottawa series.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand maybe the skepticism around, like, oh, he's never started this stretch of games in his career, but it's like there's got to be a first time for everything. And
he's also about to have like 3 days
so
of rest, dude. Like, he's gonna have 3 days of rest coming up.
Yeah, he's gonna have rest. He's looked fine so far. I haven't noticed his play fall off in the 6 games. To be honest with you,
I'm
like,
not moved
I
by
mean,
this at all. I don't even want to encourage this conversation.
Yeah, I saw people talking about it. Like, I saw people talking about it on Twitter. And I don't know. I think Twitter is probably a bad gauge a lot of the time for how normal people think. But it does give you a lot of topics to look at. And I just saw a lot of people talking about it. And I found it interesting. But I thought it was kind of stupid too. I don't see any reason to go to Wool. And I know a lot of people were bringing up, oh, he's played for them before and all that. And it's just like, I don't see the big deal. I think, listen, if he's bad in game 1 and 2, then you switch over to Wool, and it is what it is. But I think you continue to show faith in Stolarz. He's given you reason to show faith in him.
Yeah, honestly, I think the leash for Stolarz is rather 2 bad games or 1 atrociously bad game that makes you rethink. Like, it makes you think about buying him out this summer type game. Like,
literally the only reason you'd be switching to Wool at this point is injury or really bad performance for Stolarz. There's no reason to, because it's if you switch off of him for no reason, you're just like showing for some reason that you don't have confidence in a guy, and like that's gonna shatter his confidence. It's like there's no reason to do that. He's been playing well. Play him until he gives you a reason not to, and there's no reason to not play Stolarz. He's been great all year, and he's been great in the playoffs.
All right, so now moving on from that, I just want to go through keys to victory in the series. I think for the Leafs, I think obviously they're going to be underdogs coming into the series, and I think rightfully so. I think this Florida team looks incredible, and we'll get to our predictions later. And I don't really know where you guys sit with
I
if
have
they're
no
going to win
idea.
or not.
I'm being honest. It's going to be a completely vibes guess at how I'm feeling in that exact moment when I predict, because I have no idea. I don't.
Yeah, I gotta be honest. I was kind of thinking about it ever since we went up 3-0. I know it's not great to do with the Leafs, but I just kind of like, I don't know. I was like, okay, they just need to win one of the next 4, and we're in. So I think I have a handle on how I think it'll go, but I do want to talk about the keys to victory. I think that the first one is pretty obvious. I think you just got to core forward, Dan, you got to find ways to produce even with the best shutdown center in the league in Barkov. And I talked about it earlier. We're going to talk about the awards in a separate episode, but Barkov just got nominated for the Selke again, which is like a lock every single year he steps on the ice. So you're gonna have your work cut out for you there with Matthews line. They're gonna have to find ways, and I think it'll be up to Berube too for your line matching, right? Trying to find the right matchups there when you're in Toronto with the home ice advantage that they got themselves.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it's not like it helped them the first time they played Florida in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but home ice advantage.
Sheldon Keefe on the bench, and
I was gonna say Sheldon Keefe never was good at those line matching kind of things. So hopefully we'll see if Craig Berube, at least for the first 2 games. I think if they go up early in the series, if you can manage to win both home games, I think it sets you up really well. Even if Florida comes back with their 2 at home, I don't know. You gotta try and take the best advantage you can of home ice advantage with that kind of line matching game. And I just think that, as long as they stick to their game, I think they'll be okay. They're going to need some of the bottom 6 guys to step up a little bit more
Score.
in terms of scoring. I've liked their game. They just haven't scored as much. And against Ottawa, it was okay because Ottawa doesn't have that Alex Barkov. Shane Pinto was pretty good in that series. Don't get me wrong. He played pretty well. He's not Alexander Barkov. Alexander Barkov has the capability to shut down anybody in this league. And maybe besides like Connor McDavid, because I don't know if anybody can. Yeah. But
yeah, no, I just think that they need to. They're gonna have to go to the dirty areas, so you're not gonna have the space, and it's a lot more of if they want to win the series. I think they're gonna have to do a lot of what we saw them do against Tampa when they beat them, which was get in front of Vazzy, space will be Bobrovsky, get deflections, get pucks to the net, rebounds, bang it away. Yeah. Like it's just all that all the stuff that we've talked about before. There's no change. Yeah, you gotta do the same stuff.
That's exactly why I said like the biggest key is just sticking to the game, because I think if they stick to their game, they have actually a really good chance in this series. And they got to also really leverage the fact that they have 2 sets, like 2 duos or 2 lines of players that are elite. Like they're going to have the Tavares Nylander line and the Matthews Marner line. Barkov can only be out against one of those lines.
Right, so but I also think we do have to give some respect to Anton Lundell as well. He's a very, very good center. And Florida's an extremely deep team. You're going to have you're gonna have to deal with that extremely deep forward core, and I think that's gonna be the biggest issue for the Leafs, is trying to find ways to score goals. Because I think that if you go bottom 6 for bottom 6, I think Florida has the edge on us, and I don't really think it's that
they
close.
Have a better
I think
bottom 6 for sure, no questions.
So I think
in general,
if the top 6 cancel each other out, then I think in you depth, you're gonna struggle, because I don't think this team could score like Florida can in the bottom 6, and I think that's why you're gonna need the core 4 to show up again.
I like the Leafs. I like the 4th line matchup here. If we're calling the Lawton line the 4th line, I mean, I'd take that over Florida's current 4th line, which is Greer, Sturm, Bokvist.
I will say, I think in terms of Ekblad's still out for suspension, so he'll be back
for one game.
I think,
game 2.
Even with Ekblad though, I might honestly still take our defense over Florida's. Just in terms of the name value there, like we have.
I mean, I don't know. Like it's hard to. So I'll let you finish your point, but it's just hard to rank the Panthers on paper, because I've done it before.
It is tough.
And then you watch them, and it's like
they're pretty
so
good.
They're
I get that. And like Nate Schmidt for some reason has been great these playoffs. But
for some reason,
I believe in the shutdown ability of the Leafs defense core. I think we've seen it not just in the playoffs. We've seen it against contending teams in the regular season too. I think I think they're a lot better than they've been before. Like I don't know, they just have that capability to kind of box people out. We're gonna have to see it more from Jake McCabe, but that's really the only guy I can really pick out on our defense that's kind of struggled these playoffs. Besides that, team defense hasn't really been a huge issue, I think. The key, they also are gonna have to keep up with the power play. Power play is going to have to be huge, because Florida, I think, is kind of in the same vein as Ottawa, where they're definitely better at it. They know the line on what they can do to get away with calls. Mm-hmm. But with the way they play, you can assume they're going to take a dumb penalty here or there. You have to capitalize on it. It's going to be, I think, one of the big difference makers is special teams for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I think in this series it's going to be as physical.
Which ranked 9th in the playoffs. Florida says.
I think one of the biggest surprises for me with that Ottawa series is it wasn't really that physical. I thought it would be a little bit more feisty than it was, and I think we're going to see a big change in this in how the 2 series go, because Florida always brings the physicality. It doesn't matter who they play against. It doesn't matter how much they hate them. And we're going to see, like we saw when the Leafs lost in 5 to Florida, we saw Bennett kind of not drive Nice's head into the ice and concussion. He was out.
Suplex.
And you know what? It's a bad hockey play, but you know what's it's going to happen again. Like it's how playoff hockey is, and you can debate whether you like it or not. Like I'm not here to do that right now. I'm just previewing the series. You're gonna find dirty plays in this series, because at the end of the day, like we saw it with Marchand and Bennett. Bennett comes over last year and gives Marchand a punch to the mouth with his butt end in his hand. And Marchand got hurt, and they asked Marchand about it, and he's like, you know what? It's playoff hockey. You go out there, and sometimes you try to hurt a guy because that's how it is. And I got away with more stuff in my career than that. I've done worse. It is what it is. And you know what? Every single guy... Yeah.
So I will say I'm a lot more confident in the Leafs' ability this year to respond to that. I think
I was just about to say
run they were a little, like a fraction of a bit better at it, but I think this team, in terms of their ability to stick up for each other, we saw it all season. It's never just one guy that does it, or one guy that has like the burden of sticking up for his teammates. It's a team mentality. So I'm a lot more confident.
I saw Willie get into more scrums against Ottawa than I think I've ever seen him get to any scrum ever. Like he was in the middle of it a lot, a lot for his standards. But I saw like 3 or 4 times, and it's just not there for Willie usually. And I think the biggest thing, I don't have any concerns with the bottom 6 that they're not going to stick up for each other. I think that's fine. I think the biggest thing is for the top 6 to make sure that you're not scared to go against the Chuck. And if he's in a bump, you bump him back, dude. Because guess what? These guys are going to be pricks. You can't let them get under your skin. You have to match it. You know what? Not even match the physicality, because I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I think you're going to lose this series if you try to match Florida's physicality, because I think Florida is so good at what they do. They're probably the best team in the league at what they do, that you don't want to mirror images of their game, because that's not your game. So go in there. Don't be... Yep. Don't take stupid listen, we saw Ottawa do it in game 1. You go in there, you try to be physical, you take stupid penalties because you get too aggressive, you get way out of your game. I want to see this team play like they have. I don't want to see them be scared of anything. Don't be scared. Just go in, make your hits on the forecheck. You're gonna have to hit them in the corner, because I don't think they were doing it enough in the Ottawa series. I think the forecheck is gonna have to be a lot tougher if they're gonna win this series. But don't take yourself out of the play to kill somebody. Yeah, don't take yourself out of the play to kill somebody. If you wanted to get into like little punchy matches after the whistle, don't be dumb about it. If you're gonna take one, make sure to bring somebody with you. Like it's a lot of the stuff that we see in playoff hockey. I think a lot of people don't like about it. It's how it is, and you're gonna have to play like that, because if you don't, you have news for this team. If you don't want to play like that, you're not gonna win a cup anyways. Like, you're not gonna get past Florida in the first place. And even if you somehow luck your way into getting past Florida by doing that, you're not. Carolina is gonna be waiting for you. They're gonna do the exact same thing. You go to the cup final. Every single team in the Western Conference right now are sons of bitches to play against. You do not like. I hate every single team in that Western Conference. They're tough, man, and they don't care. They'll be physical. They'll try to hurt you too. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and that's like a key for the Leafs. I think early on in this series, like throughout the series, of course, but especially early on in the series, because you got to wear them down. This is going to be a long series. If the Leafs want to win this series, it's going to be a long series. They have the home ice advantage, but they're the underdog because the Panthers are the defending Stanley Cup champions. And
dude, that team's a juggernaut.
Manhandled Tampa Bay. Manhandled.
My God.
And
I thought Tampa could have gone to the final this year.
I think a lot of people did, man. And we saw the laundry list that Tampa Bay had in terms of injuries. At the end of the day, man, they got just wiped. Like, Florida completely like obliterated them. And
we saw dude, you know what? Another thing I want to say quickly, Seb, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we saw that hit that Hagel laid on Barkov.
Yeah.
That's you know what? Bad hit. But you know what happens right after that? And you can say, again, I'm not here to say whether I like the plays or not, because I don't think anyone likes to see anyone get hurt. But the Chuck, when that game's over, lines up Densel when he doesn't have the puck, and then he lights him up in open ice. Ekblad goes for a flying double to Hagel's head. And listen, no one's condoning head hits, but I'm just saying this is what they do. Like, you have to be prepared for it. You can't go into this series thinking that you're going to play against Ottawa again, because that series was probably one of the least physical playoff series I've seen in my life. Like, as much as they... Yeah, it felt like a regular it felt like 6 regular season games, like a little bit heightened intensity, a little bit, and obviously better defensive play.
I think a huge part in that was because it was extremely physical in the first game or two.
Was there a fight?
I don't think there was no fight.
Domi had the couple uppercuts on Goddard, but it wasn't like actually drop the gloves and throw. It wasn't.
I think the biggest contributor to that was the fact that Ottawa was so undisciplined in the first game and second game a little bit, but mainly the first game, that I think they couldn't find that physical balance, I think, for the rest of the series in terms of like being extremely physical, but, you know, staying disciplined. I think they lost that balance, and that's kind of why we saw the physicality slip in that series. So it could be a concern for the Leafs not being too used to it, but at the end of the day, I think they'll dial it in again. Like, I'm a lot more confident now in this team, seeing how they closed out that game against Ottawa. And you can say whatever you want about Ottawa being young and I think any team going against them was going to have trouble.
For sure.
Yeah.
Ottawa
Yes.
played a pretty solid series. Let's be real. Like,
Seb, I just wanted to respond to something you said. I'll let you continue that, but you said maybe the Leafs won't be seasoned enough physically because the Ottawa series wasn't too physical. I think on the other hand, maybe
That might help them.
That might help them. They might
Yeah,
not be as banged
that
up.
might help them. Yeah.
They might be have a little more jump in their step than the Panthers do because let's be honest, that Panthers Tampa series was physical. But I mean, you can never ever count out the Panthers. It is the biggest mistake you can never make. I learned never to count out teams that always do the thing that you expect them to do. Last night when the Oilers won, we'll get to that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, but honestly, in terms of like predicting the series, I cannot look at this objectively because these are like in terms of how the regular season went, the Leafs are the favorite. Like purely regular season points where they finished, they have home ice advantage. They're the favorite. We know they're not the favorite. I don't know. If the Leafs win, it's going to be in 7 games. That means they have to win a game 7. The Panthers could win in 5 again. I don't think the Leafs could win this series in 5. I don't know. I'm not looking at this objectively. I'm looking at this like a Leafs fan who has seen them suck for a long time. I don't know, man. Like, fuck.
I think my biggest thing is that the Leafs and Panthers play slightly similar styles now in terms of like their forechecks really heavy. Just kind of that whole play. I don't need to get all into it. We know how Craig Berube hockey is, but the biggest difference comes with how the Florida Panthers really drag you into the fight. They force you to take stupid calls and all that kind of stuff. And at the end of the day, they're such a well-oiled machine. Their depth is amazing. It's so tough to make a prediction on this series. Like I'm caught in between because I think people. I sound like a homer right now, but like I feel like people kind of underrate the Leafs because the Leafs have managed to win so many games this season where they get outplayed, or they get outshot and whatever. It might seem like they get outplayed, but they win so many games like that. Like I feel like the Leafs play a style of hockey where they could beat teams that look better than them. Mm-hmm. And the annoying part is that the Panthers kind of play like that too, but they're kind of
better
just
players.
Good. Like they're kind of just good. So I am really caught in between, but I'm gonna sit on the side of I want to be positive about my team, and I'm gonna stick to them being different. Let's go Leafs in 7.
Okay, so like I said, I've been thinking about this series for a bit because I think when the Leafs went up 3-0, I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall in that Florida Tampa series too. I think Florida kind of laid the beat down on them twice. I know Tampa got one back, but it was over pretty quickly. I think where I land on this, I think is just goaltending. Bobrovsky's a demon in the playoffs. I think you could say whatever you want about him, the regular season record. He's still great in the regular season, but we have seen Bobrovsky kind of like up and down moments with it throughout regular seasons. It's kind of his like history as a goalie. But when it comes to the playoffs, he's locked in, and I think this team didn't do a good enough job scoring goals against them the last time we played Florida in the playoffs, and that's why we lost in 5. I think there's a couple of reasons why. You guys know I've been so positive about the team, like more positive than usual. I had in my bracket, you guys can find it on our Instagram, at eyes_on_Leafs. We all have our brackets there, and I think some of them might already be busted. I think just based off how the series has went already,
They're all cooked.
Yeah. I had the Leafs going to the cup final against Colorado, and I think
we all did.
Yeah,
against Dallas.
Yeah. I think the problem is for me. Is I thought Tampa would beat this Florida team. I didn't know how healthy the Chuck would be. I thought we matched up better against Tampa than Florida. And I was telling my brother this too. I think the only team I was really scared of in the East was Florida. And now we're at the series, and I want to be positive. I really hope they prove me wrong because this team I've loved this team, like the way they've played, the way it's been pretty refreshing to see how they've switched their style and how they've performed. And so I hope they prove me wrong, but I think my reasoning is just I think the depth is better on Florida. I just think that they have a deeper lineup, and I think that could be costly, especially in games where the tops just kind of cancel each other out. We've already gone through the Barkov and Lundell matchups and how Berube's gonna have to manage those. I think Bennett, Marchand, and Tkachuk is a nightmare for me. I really don't like the idea of the Leafs having to go up against that line or any of them just individually. I think they are very good on the forecheck. Yeah, they're very good on the forecheck. They're going to get under your skin in between whistles. They'll be dirty, and we know how the refs go deeper in the playoffs. You call less and less, and I think the Leafs can't complain about it. I think you just have to play through it, and it is what it is. But they scare me. I'm not going to lie. Marchand has killed me so many times. That guy, I can't stand him. Tkachuk, same thing. Can't stand him. Bennett, same thing. I think really what it comes down to for me is forward depth, and I think the goaltending as well. I'm not complaining about Stolarz. I think he's been fantastic. I just think Bobrovsky's at another level of goalies that Allmark played well at the end of the series. I thought he was kind of rough early, but like he got better as the series went on. And I still think Bobrovsky's better than that. And it just concerns me how this team tends to get away from throwing pucks on net with bodies in front sometimes. I think we even saw it the last time we played them. We didn't do it enough. And I don't see. I hate to say it, but I don't see this. I don't even know if anyone could beat this Florida team in the best of 7. I don't see how it happens. I just think they're too deep. They're too experienced in the playoffs. And if this does go the Leafs' way, it's a core 4 finding a way to get it done. Matthews breaking out, Marner having a good series, Tavares getting some greasy goals, Willie showing up when it matters. Your goaltending's good. You keep the same game going defensively because they really didn't give up all that much. And I think it really just comes down to a special teams battle. And like I said, the core 4 finding ways to break the seal of Barkov and Lundell, and that's what it's going to come down to. So at the end of the day, it's not complicated how they get the series done. It's just a matter if they're able to do it at a higher level than Florida, and I don't know if I see that happening with this team.
The biggest thing is I have a lot more confidence in this team being good against good goalies because we saw them make Andrei Vasilevsky look completely human. Completely human. And that's, you could say, is the best goalie on the planet, maybe next to Hellebuck. In some occasions, a lot of people take him over Hellebuck. Like, they made him look human. And it's not rocket science. They just got to do what they did in the series versus Ottawa. Get guys in front of the net. You got to make traffic. You got to create havoc. At the end of the day, that's what it's going to be. And if they can do it consistently, I think they have a chance. But yeah, at the end,
they have to do it consistently.
Depth is just insane. But you know what? Sometimes it's not just about the best team on paper. It's who can play to their strengths and their game the best. And I think we've seen the Leafs stick to their game for majority of the season, and they stuck to it pretty well. So I have confidence. This is definitely the worst case scenario, I think, in my opinion. This is definitely the scariest series.
Definitely.
But you know what? I'm going to err on the side of confidence and optimism. It's not going to be easy, certainly. Definitely not going to be easy to beat this team, but I don't know. I have some confidence. I think they'll be able to do it. I really do think they have a good chance at it.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot more even than a lot of people are giving it. I think a lot of people are underrating the Leafs in this series. And I could be a homer for saying that, but I don't care.
No, I think you're right. I kind of want to. I don't know how to do this, but I'm trying to set a realistic expectation for the Leafs going into the series, because I mean it's the same conversation we have every single year and that we had. That we've had at length on the show many times is if they don't get it done, at what point do you abandon the current core? And I don't know, it's with the team that they have this year, I feel the need to reevaluate that sentiment, just because, you know, we've said so many times it's different then you run into what's easily the best team in the East, most experienced team, the team with the best chance of coming out of the East and winning the Cup, defending champs. Like, if they do well in this series, I would feel like honestly, if they go to 7, like I think I would feel okay. Obviously, depending how that plays out. Like obviously there's a difference between a close series going to 7 and if we went to 7 against Ottawa.
I think the problem is for me,
right? But
the problem is for me is that we've seen this team in so many close series of even teams that they probably shouldn't have been in a close series with, and they haven't been able to close. So it's hard for me to feel good about a 7-game series loss in the second round against Florida, regardless of how good they are, just because of how much failure we've seen in the past. And it gets hard to justify keeping everyone around because Florida's not going anywhere next year, right? Like these teams aren't going to disappear, and it's like, oh, it's one bad year. Like we gave them the pass in the regular season. I think leading into the playoffs in the past with this, like, oh, Boston greatest regular season of all time, Tampa greatest regular season of all time, Florida President's Trophy, and it's like,
you're right.
It doesn't get easy. Like if you want to win a cup, you have to find ways to put a roster together that is going to beat the best teams in the league, or you are the best team in the league, right? So I have
That's
a hard
what I
time.
was saying, though, too.
Yeah.
Like with sometimes the team that wins a series isn't the best team on paper or necessarily the team that everybody takes.
Dude, we see that a lot. We saw it with Florida with Boston when they lost to Florida that year that Florida ended up going to the Cup final.
Honestly, might be kind of a what's the word? A fitting example, but the 2019 Blues, were they better on paper than any of the teams they went up against? They won the.
Dude, they played the Jets.
It was murderers row.
The Stars, the San Jose Sharks, like in their prime. Maybe not in their prime. That was like the last year they contended, but like they were still great that year. And then the Boston Bruins in 2019, like those are.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
no. Listen, I'm not saying that this team has no chance of winning the series. I think they're definitely like matched up the best, and we have seen them in the past. I just think that the way I've been kind of going into this playoffs, I think it's just looking at a lot more just the hockey side with this team, because it's in the past we've seen them kind of like, I kind of throw all hockey logic out the window when it comes to the Leafs in the past, where it's just like, well, they're gonna lose to the Leafs, like we always lose. And I think this year I thought the team was different. I thought they had more resilience than we have seen them have in the past. So I just went at it at face value with like looking at a hockey perspective. Are they the better team? And if they're the better team, I think they win the series. And that's what I went to with Ottawa. And I'm like, I think they should win. There's so many reasons why they should win, and they win. And I just looked at this series, and I'm like, it's going to be tight. I don't think we lose in 5 again. I think we'll get another game on them. And I think if you looked in the regular season, they never really killed us. I think it was always a tight game. It was always a 1-goal game for the most part, aside from that last game near the end of the season.
Series, to be honest, man.
No, I mean, we saw with Ottawa. Ottawa essentially swept. I think they swept us in the season series, and we ended up beating them anyways.
2 goals on them in the regular season.
Yeah. I'm just seeing what I've seen in the past. It's going to be a tight series. I think every game will be close. I doubt that we see any blowouts on either side. And I just think it'll be a tight 6-game series. And at the end of the day, like I was talking with my brother about this. He's like, if they win this series, do you want to keep everyone around? I'm like, I still don't think it's enough. I think if you want everyone to stick around, and this is a conversation for the offseason after the playoffs are done, the dust is settled and everything's kind of like over with. But it's more like, if this team goes to a Game 7 of a conference final and they had a hard-fought series and it's like tough bounce off something in overtime in Game 7 and they lose, and it's like, okay, then you can have a different conversation. But I need to see this team beat a team that they shouldn't be able to beat, or that maybe they're not the favorites to beat, because I do think they're capable of beating Florida. And it's just about the big guys showing up against a team that's going to be a tough matchup.
I mean, this could have easily been the first round. This could have easily been Atlantic 2 versus Atlantic 3. I mean, doesn't matter which one of those teams the Leafs are, who has home ice, doesn't fucking matter. Because, I mean, that's been every year for the last 7 years has been, it's the Leafs against this juggernaut team. And this could have easily been the first round. I don't think we obviously wouldn't feel good if they went to Game 7 overtime against the Panthers this season and lost in the first round. That's exactly what happened last year. I mean, I think you're right. I think you've helped me set my own personal expectation, which is just win.
Yeah,
I genuinely do think if they can pull off a win in this series, like if they can pull out the series win here, I think they're set for your cup final. Like, that kind of confidence is a different. Like, if you can take out the defending cup champs in round 2 in a series where everybody thought you were pretty much cooked,
and I think
it's a different kind of confidence.
Carolina too.
it's not even just that. It's just the confidence you get from a win like that. I mean, they might be a little more battered and bruised than the other teams, but I think it would. In this difference maker of a series, like, you give a group that kind of a win. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of think we've kind of covered all bases now. I don't think there's much else to say for this series. So I think it's a good time to move on to the series that have finished off. And I think we'll keep it pretty brief on a few series. There's obviously more series where we could go more in depth, and kind of looking at Edmonton LA as one of those series that I want to talk about a lot, because I think there's a lot from just a hockey perspective that you could look at similarities between LA and the Leafs, and I think they're kind of the Leafs of the West again.
Minnesota,
so we'll talk about
actually.
Both, maybe.
Minnesota. I give more of a pass for, and I'll talk about why. I see a lot of people talking about that, and I'll talk about it because I had a decent amount to say about Minnesota, just because I was really impressed with them. But I want to start with the Battle of Florida. I don't think we need to spend too much time, because I think we've talked a decent amount about it
already. Yeah,
we talked about it. Obviously, we like Seb said, just a long list of injuries for Tampa. I don't think they lost Bjorkstrand before the season or the series even started, which was a big pickup for them at the deadline. I think when we were going through our deadline shows, we were like, they filled their third line center role with Yanni Gord, and there's the top six winger there with Bjorkstrand, and they kind of filled their holes. It doesn't matter how much they paid, but you lose Bjorkstrand. Tough. Hedman breaks his foot in Game 4. Plays through it. Like, yeah, dude. Vazzy didn't look that good. I think that was one of the biggest things. He didn't really give them the saves that they maybe needed in a series where you kind of need your goalie to maybe steal you one, especially when you have Hagel, who missed a Game 2 with one with suspension, and the other he had a concussion and he just didn't come back. So, I mean, I don't know what much more there is to say. Like we've talked about it a lot. Do you guys have anything to say about the series?
I don't know. I think it's just interesting how not every single one, but close to every single cup winner over the last decade or so just has such a hard time
getting out the first round.
Getting out the first round after they win their cups. Like,
dude, it's a heavy toll, man, and also in the cap era too, where you go and where you win these cups with these depth players, and it's just you can't afford to keep them around anymore, because when you get the cup win, it's a bigger contract when you're UFA after, because you have that Stanley Cup pedigree.
JB.
Go ahead.
I think it's interesting how well Tampa had I don't want to say rebuilt, but just kind of changed their team to kind of account for
restructured. I guess it would be a word.
Restructure, yeah, that's a good word. And still, it wasn't enough. And you talked about the injuries, but honestly, I don't know.
I'll tell you what though, they I don't know how much really. I don't want to say I don't know how much longer they have, because I mean. It's not like, their top forwards are old. Point's still late 20s. Gensel is early 30s at most.
Kucherov's still there.
Like early 30s.
I do want to stop you on Kucherov though, because we were talking about Stars not showing up.
Awful.
He was god awful, and awful. I think he has like 0 goals in his last 15 playoff games. And the other thing is he's in every season, the 3 seasons he's won the Art Ross, he's been unable to score in the playoffs. So literally 0 goals. So yeah,
that is a curious name. I wonder. I mean, I doubt he gets dealt, but it is interesting. John Cooper just announced today that he's staying, and he doesn't want to coach another team. Much.
There was rumors about Utah there.
Yeah, but he just told the media today he doesn't see himself coaching anywhere else, which. People say that all the time and go back on it after, fast. But
Friedman did say that he believes that he will return. That's not BS. He has family reasons to want to stay in Florida. So
it's a vote of confidence. It's a vote of confidence, at least for the short term, that he will be there for still a good amount.
Dude, of time. That guy's earned himself such a long leash. How could you fire him when you have that run? That it's just so tough, dude. We saw with Mike Sullivan, which we'll talk about later, but he rode those cup teams for a long time.
8 years.
Yeah.
I think my biggest concern with the Tampa Bay Lightning going forward is their defense, because Mikhail Sergachev was kind of supposed to be the next guy to take that mantle from Hedman, and Hedman's turning 35 next year.
Yeah.
Just broke his foot. Obviously he's going to recover.
He was still fantastic this year, though.
He's still fantastic this year, but how much longer is that going to last?
No, you're right.
It gets unpredictable as you move on, and they don't really have... They don't have that next guy. They traded him.
No, they have JJ Moser.
Yeah, but he's not Victor Hedman. He's not going to be anywhere close to that. He's a solid top 4 defenseman.
They have Nick Perbix too.
Are you sure? Darren
Rainbow
Radish was a
Chernak.
great fantasy pickup this season. I'm not gonna lie, but no, like they don't have that guy. And like JJ Moser, don't get me wrong, he's a good young defenseman.
No, I
he's
mean,
like 24.
Yeah, he's just a guy though. He's not like
He's a solid top 4 guy for his career, but I don't think he's not gonna be a Victor Hedman. They don't really have that next guy. I think Mikhail Sergachev was gonna be that guy that takes over the mantle, and
even he wouldn't have been Victor Hedman. There's like 5 guys.
No, he wouldn't have been Victor Hedman.
It'll be interesting though with Tampa, because Julian Breezeball, we've seen him not be scared to make big moves. So I wonder what he has planned, because I doubt he just kind of sits on his hands and lets it be. Because listen, as much as you had those runs, they've been out in the first round 3 years in a row now. And Vazzy even came out today, and he hasn't been good enough in the playoffs. And he said, "I just feel bad for the fans," which as a Leafs fan, I laughed, because I'm like, dude, like if the Leafs did this, I'd be like, dude, whatever, you won us what, 2 cups and 3 cup finals,
honestly,
like yeah, I don't care.
You're good, Vazzy.
Yeah, like you did great. Yeah.
And to be
no,
fair,
but
what a
no,
Conn
but
Smythe, man. Like
the Lightning decor is also just kind of dookie. Like I don't know.
It's not that great, to be honest.
They could do something.
It's okay. Yeah, Nick
Yeah.
Perbix and Darren Radish are not.
Daily
Not
Faceoff
all
has
that.
Darren Radish as a forward. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm trying to look at
They might maybe they went like 11 and 7.
11
or something.
7.
Oh, that's usually
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah. Sorry. I brought that up
Okay,
so many
I
times
think
on the
we
show.
do we want to move on from the Battle of Florida? I don't think there's
Yeah,
much more to
yeah.
say. I think
Spent a lot
we'll
of
be able
time
to
on
dig a little
Tampa.
bit. Yeah, we'll be able to dig in. Well, I mean, we spent a lot of time on Florida before, so it kind of makes sense. But we'll be able to dig in on Tampa a little bit more in the off season once we kind of see what the moves that Breezeball has planned. I expect them to be in on a bunch of different things, because Breezeball is never really quiet. Like, he's not the type of guy to stay quiet. And if they don't do a lot, then I think you expect them to make moves at the deadline next year. So we'll be able to talk about them a lot more, especially throughout the offseason. But the next year is sorry, go ahead, Jacob.
I was just gonna say before we go on,
Yeah.
I don't think I have time to touch on every series on this show.
Yeah,
just,
that's fine.
for our listeners, we are recording. It's like 9:45 right now. I work at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
tomorrow morning, so if we could just pick a couple.
I also work at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Yeah. I think Washington, Montreal, we already touched on that a little bit. I think in past episodes, I think Montreal, just pretty good effort. I'll kind of speed through the ones. I think there's 2 I really want to talk about. There's not much more we could say.
Actually,
in
I do
the
have something to
East.
say about Caps Habs. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
contradicting
go ahead.
myself 'cause it's
No,
really
you're
tough.
fine. You're fine.
I just want to kind of I predicted Washington in 5, but yeah, I mean, I'm terrified of. I think I said this on the last show already though, so I don't really need to say it again. But I'm terrified of Montreal in the future. Like, they're gonna terrorize the Islanders.
Yeah, Montreal looks solid. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a valiant effort. I don't really think there's much to say about Montreal. They put up a good fight, and those were close games, tight games, and I think that's all you can really ask for if you're a Montreal fan. And I think the most of what you've seen is a lot of happiness out of Montreal, which I think is justified. It's kind of how I felt when we beat Washington, or when we lost Washington in 6, and same thing with Ottawa too.
Another curse
Go
buster.
ahead. What?
The last time there wasn't
Okay,
a
enough. Never mind.
Savard in the
Never mind.
NHL was 1967.
I've had enough of this, man.
Okay.
There is a
Carolina
Savard
versus New
in the
Jersey.
NHL, though. That's the problem. There's this, like, maybe they'll win in 2026. Like,
What do you mean? What do you mean? Where is there Savard playing?
he played
This
in the
coach.
NHL this season.
This season, bro.
Yeah,
it
but he's not
counts.
there anymore.
Yeah, but if
Okay.
Montreal got
Anyway,
like,
moving
didn't
on.
retire.
Jacob needs to go to bed. Jacob needs to go to bed. Okay, moving on.
Sleepy Jacob,
Carolina
that's what they
versus
call him.
Sleepy.
That's
Sleepy
the podcast
Jacob.
title.
Yeah, Sleepy
Sleepy
Jake.
Jacob.
Oh my God, yes it is. Okay.
Sleepy.
Carolina
Jacob.
versus New Jersey. Not much to say on that. New Jersey's just outmanned. They can't do much. Losing double overtime, and we already talked about it. It's just not
Hydrogen
surprising
bomb
at all.
versus coughing baby.
Yeah.
It's like a
we'll move on
hospital
from that. There's not
dropped
much to
on
say.
The Devils, man.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So bad.
Okay. Vegas, Minnesota. I want to hold Edmonton, LA for last because I think that's the series we want to talk about the most. I know a lot of people are kind of shitting on Minnesota right now for the 8 straight first round exits, and I think the past, I agree, mid, like same thing as the Leafs. That can't happen. But I think if you looked at this year in a vacuum, it was very, very positive. I think you have this team who had $20 million in dead cap with the Parise and Suter contracts or buyouts.
Kaprizov
And
played
that
30 games, like 37 games or like 40 games or whatever. You missed half the season.
They gave they're gonna have tons of cap space this offseason. Rossi, Boldy looked good. Kaprizov, hopefully they keep him around. He was like, I think we talked about at the start of the series, argument for top 5 player in the NHL. He's like hovering around it. He's right there. I think they have a bright future. I think they pushed a really good Vegas team. Every game was pretty entertaining. If Nyquist doesn't go offside in Game 4, I think it was, then they win that game because they scored really late. Game 3, Game 4, Game 3.
When Minnesota went up 2-1, I thought they were going to win the series. They looked fantastic, man. Like Kaprizov and Boldy,
they did.
They were
Eichel woke up late in the series. I think that was one of the big things for Vegas. I think Eichel did not show up for the start of the series, but as the series went on, he got a lot better, and we saw him produce. Mark Stone with a big goal to kind of close it in Game 6 as well.
I'm a big fan of Gustafsson too for their future, and they also have Jesper Wallstedt in the system.
Yeah.
That nobody really talks about, but he's like one of the best goalie prospects, like top 3 probably in the NHL.
It's like Askarov, him, and like I don't know, you could argue for the third one.
Maybe like Kosa, I don't know.
Kosa, Levi, maybe
Jacob Fowler,
Fowler, yeah.
He's definitively top 2, I think.
Probably
behind Askarov.
Backup next year now that Fleury's likely retired.
Fleury's retired.
I'm very optimistic about their future. I think the cap space is huge. They're going to go after somebody big this offseason, whether trade or free agency. They'll be good.
Okay, so Edmonton versus LA. I think this is the series we want to spend the most time on it. Just a disaster for LA. We're Jacob. I was right about the Canes doing a victory lap, and they dropped 4 straight.
Jacob were right.
Me and Mateo were right. Me
and Mateo were right.
My bad. I was wrong. I've got no words. Kings, you're fucking awful. I am never cheering for you again. I'm never believing in the Los Angeles Kings ever again. This is my last mistake. The Oilers will lose to the Golden Knights.
I think we could do a whole podcast on this series because I think there's so many different aspects to it. But I think the main points I think you take away are, obviously, you go up 2-0 in the series and you can't take another one, which is just heartbreaking. Especially when you had the Dude, I know he's only been there for 2 seasons, but he lost his composure. No in-game adjustments because you had the lead, and I think games 3 and 4, and you go back to the trap that they were used to run all the time, and it did not work. And
you got an all-time performance out of Adrian Kempe, and you wasted it.
Yeah, and you know what? The funny thing was we wrapped last pod, and we stayed on after the video call ended, and we quick 2-minute, but it was like Seb said, it was podcast talk because they run that trap, and the biggest ways to beat a trap are speed, which you have McDavid. The Oilers are a fast team, and dumping it in and killing you in the corner, and you had that both in all through the lineup in Edmonton, and I don't understand why they kept going back to that trap. And honestly, I think Jim Hiller low-key threw Quinton Byfield under the bus a lot because they always say if that puck gets out, dude, that's your young center that you're trying to build around for the future, and you're just burying him every press conference because you're getting frustrated with reporters, and I don't you cannot do that.
No, Jim Hiller and Rob Blake both need to be gone.
Rob Blake needs to be gone.
Dude, I don't even think they're necessarily that poorly constructed.
No, they've got a good team.
I think they need maybe a piece or two and just a different coach. I also noticed noticed that they went to the 5-forward power play as well.
Yeah.
I noticed that. But no, they need just different management up in there. A serious coach for once. Tom McClellan is kind of dog shit.
Play a grand total of 2 minutes in Game 5.
I was just about to say that. Hiller did not trust his depth at all, and you run your guys into the ground, and even if you beat Edmonton, you are gassing out your top guys, and you are setting yourself up for failure when you get into the next round just a team like Vegas, who's going to be tough to get through. And I think, like Seb said, get a serious coach. I think the other thing is that Kemper had a Vezina-level season, and I don't know if you get that from him again. He's 35 right now. He's not a young guy. He's had a long career, and it's just Dude, he's an old
look
goalie.
at moving him this summer maybe, but then you have to find another goalie in an off season where there's not
and
really
a team
much
who wants to take that
available.
contract too. Because if you remember before the season, Kemper was one of the worst. Like people saw that as a really like him and Grubauer were like head to head for the worst goalie contracts in the league, and they found value out of that PLD trade. What do you have?
Kemper for Jari.
Okay. Moving on.
Jari and, like, 10
don't
first
even
round
entertain
picks.
it. Don't even entertain it. Don't even
Jari
entertain
and
it.
Rutger
Don't
McGroarty?
entertain them.
Jari and Crosby?
Do not
Jari and
entertain
Crosby?
him. Do not entertain them. Yeah, I struggle with the Kings because it's like I know Edmonton's so great, but like you lose at home. If you weren't going to do it this year, when are you going to do it? And I think honestly, I think Edmonton was out for round 2 again. I saw that report today, and I think Vegas beats them. I don't think that Edmonton's that good of a team right now. I know betting just McDavid and Draisaitl again, but
I think what Los Angeles needs is they need someone who can just shut down Connor McDavid, because I mean if they don't have McDavid scoring, they're not winning that series. I think.
How can you improve on Anze Kopitar for that role, though?
I think Los Angeles needs to go out and get Justin Hall.
That's ball knowledge. That's elite ball knowledge. That is elite ball knowledge. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no,
That is an insane.
I didn't think he was going there. I didn't think he was going there.
I insane pull. I'm not gonna lie. He's a UFA
out
this
of
year.
left field.
Oh, is he really? There you go. That's perfect.
I think.
Advantage
sorry,
Detroit.
Next year.
Nah,
Next
but
year.
they're gonna get plowed by Vegas. You're right, Mateo. I don't think they stand a fucking chance. And maybe I'm jinxing again, and the Oilers are probably gonna win a cup in that scenario. But
yeah, now they're gonna win the cup.
Dude, the problem is that for Edmonton, they've looked shaky all series. They looked shaky. Even when they won their games, they didn't look that great. And I think honestly, I think this is the biggest fumble that you'll ever see if you're LA. Like I think this is up there with us blowing the 3-1 lead to Montreal, because with Montreal we like it's not its use. I'll never use this as an excuse, but we lost JT in game 1, and then like COVID, also other stuff. But you're up 2-0 this series. Edmonton's missing arguably their best defenseman that they have on that roster. McDavid wasn't.
Man, they switched to Pickard.
Yeah, you couldn't beat Calvin Pickard.
This was your series to take, and they had it on the ropes. They had them. They had Edmonton in game 3
2 or 3 times, man.
Just locked in
2 or 3 times.
Evan Bouchard locked in, but even at that point, you're still up 2-1, and they dropped 4 straight. Like that, it's embarrassing.
It's kind of like it kind of felt like they let that 2 things like unravel their series, and it was a coach's challenge on that goalie interference, and it was Byfield not getting the puck out of the zone, and those 2 things, I felt like it was just like downhill from there, and they couldn't get back on their feet. And even last night, like it's just you get your goals, and you can't play defense, and it's like if you're gonna go goal for Edmonton, you should have committed to that you probably won't win it. But also, you shouldn't play fully defensive against Edmonton, because it doesn't matter who you are are not beating Edmonton in a fully defensive shell. It doesn't. You could be the Florida Panthers, and I don't think you're doing it. We saw last year where they almost choked it up. Like they almost coughed up that. They almost reversed up the cup final. Like it was very close, and it's very dangerous to start playing very defensive trap hockey against Edmonton Oilers, because when they go full out for offense, as much as we make fun of Bouchard, when that guy is on the offensive side of the puck, he's dangerous, man. He can make a lot of plays with that puck.
What they're doing is very smart, but also very dangerous.
Oh my god, here we go.
Enough one-liners,
I know this actually. No, they
okay.
Yeah, that was their series to win. This was the best chance they had at beating Edmonton, and they choked it. So they need some serious they need a serious look in the mirror this offseason.
Yeah, like you said, get Rob Blake out of there. He's been there far too long. Might be a little bit of the Stevie Yzerman syndrome where
they haven't won the cup or won a series since 2014. Like it's a long drought there. Okay, so moving on from the playoff. We'll go through.
No, you're back.
The hell
you're
just happened there?
I see. Yep. I don't know. I see.
Okay. Oh, are we good?
They're telling you. They're giving you a sign. We've been going for too long.
Yeah, well, I'll speed through this now. Because I think this move, I just found it. Obviously, we want to talk about because it's just so big. Mike Sullivan signing with the Rangers. It's definitely interesting, I think, because they don't really get a top coach, but I don't know the direction of the team really. Like now, I kind of think that they're going to try to buy and become a competitive team again and try to push for the playoffs. But I don't know where they're going.
What are the Rangers in 2025, man? Does anybody know?
Like I think I kind of hope they can just chalk this up to one bad season and say let's turn it around, because I mean they just won the President's Trophy. I mean that should be their plan.
Not with that dog ass defense that they're running, dude. They better make some crazy changes this offseason, because if they plan on competing with Will Borgen in their top four, they need a serious head shake, because it's just not happening. Sorry.
We're kind of just short on time, so I'm gonna,
$5 million. By the way.
I think it's a big contract. I think we'll be able to tell what the Rangers are kind of thinking once the offseason goes along, and with the moves that they make. I don't really know if there's anything that we can really say right now about the state of the team. I don't really know where they're going, because they were kind of in between all season, like moving guys out, bringing some other guys in, moving other guys out. So they're in a transition phase. Mike Sullivan, obviously a big hire, got let go from Pittsburgh. And he was there for a long time. Obviously, had a lot of success there early in the mid 2010s. Mid 2010s.
Did they win a series after they got eliminated, or after their cup?
They faced Washington round 2 in 2018.
Oh,
and that's the last series that they ever.
That's
won.
the last one they won.
They lost the Montreal in the qualifying round in 2020.
Yep, they did.
Do we want to save the Vancouver situation for the next pod and really dig deep into it?
Yeah, because that's a lot.
That's one I don't want to just gloss over. There's a lot going on.
And the next time we record, there might be even more to talk about. Because, like I said earlier, it's a soap opera. It's like General Hospital, dude. It's like there's a new episode every day.
I would watch that.
We're gonna see Stephen A. Smith pop up on the Vancouver Canucks situation. Something,
shoot somebody.
That was so crazy. I opened my Twitter in the morning. I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Yeah. We'll wrap here now. I hope you guys enjoyed the pod. I think like I said earlier, we're going to try to get another episode up pretty soon. That one's going to be a little bit more award focused, and a little bit more on the coaching side, because there's a lot of stuff going on with the coaches in the NHL. So we'll talk about that, and we'll see. No promises. Again, it's kind of a tight schedule for us right now, and it's kind of tough to keep up a little bit with all the playoffs going on. And I can't really remember the last time there's been this much news during the playoffs. It kind of feels like they kind of hold off a bit, wait till the playoffs die down. Like conference finals, when you kind of see everything kind of start rolling in. Like you see firings obviously in the first round, but then you only see stuff really develop once you get to the conference finals, and there's a little bit more breathing room. But there's a lot going on, so we're gonna try to sneak in another episode pretty soon here. We're hopefully by the time before the Leafs play their game 1 against Florida. So we'll try our best with that. No promises, but we're gonna try. So hope you guys enjoyed the pod. Thanks for listening if you got this far, and hopefully we'll have a couple more series closed. No, we will have more series closed out, but I don't really know the score of the Jets game right now.
It was 4-1 Blues last I checked. It looks like
4-1.
That's going to 7. Oh god.
Wow. Okay. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed.
5-1.
Have a good day. Have a good weekend. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah.